This is the dramatic moment that a Russian warehouse, stacked with valuable military material, was blown sky-high by the armed forces of Ukraine in a successful nighttime attack. Since the first days of the war, striking pictures have emerged almost daily across social media which have depicted the scale of the Russian losses in men and vehicles. In the modern world, it's almost impossible for the Russian government to conceal their battlefield reversals as easily as they once could. It's become clear that the Russian military is experiencing a very high attrition rate at the hands of determined Ukrainian defenders. The Russian military will soon exhaust its combat capabilities and be forced to bring its offensive in Ukraine's eastern Donbass region to a grinding halt, according to Western intelligence predictions and military experts. There will come a time when the tiny advances Russia is making become unsustainable in light of the costs, and they will need a significant pause to regenerate capability, said a senior Western official, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive issue. The assessments come despite continued Russian advances against outgunned Ukrainian forces, including the capture on Friday of the city of Severodonetsk, the biggest urban center taken by Russia in the east since launching the latest Donbass offensive nearly 3 months ago. The Russians are now closing in on the adjacent city of Lysychansk, on the opposite bank of the Donets River. The town's capture would give Russia almost complete control of the Luhansk Oblast, one of 2 oblasts, or provinces, that make up the Donbass region. Control of Donbass is the publicly declared goal of Russia's special military operation, although the multi-front invasion launched in February made it clear that Moscow's original ambitions were far broader. Capturing Lysychansk presents a challenge because it stands on higher ground and the Donets River impedes Russian advances from the east. So instead, Russian troops appear intent on encircling the city from the west, pressing southeast from Izum and northeast from Popasna on the western bank of the river. According to chatter on Russian Telegram channels and Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister, Anna Maliar, the Russian military is under pressure to bring all of Luhansk under Russian control by Sunday, perhaps explaining the heightened momentum of the past week. But the creeping advances are dependent almost entirely on the expenditure of vast quantities of ammunition, notably artillery shells, which are being fired at a rate almost no military in the world would be able to sustain for long, said the senior Western official. Russia, meanwhile, is continuing to suffer heavy losses of equipment and men, calling into question how much longer it can remain on the attack, the official said. Officials refuse to offer a time frame, but British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, citing intelligence assessments, indicated this week that Russia would be able to continue to fight on only for the next few months. After that, Russia could come to a point when there is no longer any forward momentum because it has exhausted its resources, he told the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung in an interview. Russian commentators are also noting the challenges, emphasizing a chronic shortage of manpower. Russia does not have enough physical strength in the zone of the special military operation in Ukraine, taking into account the almost 1,000-kilometer, or more, line of confrontation, wrote Russian military blogger Yuri Kotianok on his Telegram account. He estimated that Russia would need 500,000 troops to attain its goals, which would only be possible with a large-scale mobilization, a potentially risky and unpopular move that President Vladimir Putin has so far refrained from undertaking. The Russian onslaught has already outlasted forecasts that Russia's offensive capabilities would peak by the summer. Aggressive recruitment of contract soldiers and reservists has helped generate as many as 40,000 to 50,000 troops to replenish those lost or incapacitated in the first weeks of the fighting, according to Ukrainian officials. Russia has been hauling ancient tanks out of storage and away from bases across the vast country to throw onto the front lines in Ukraine. The Russians still have the advantage over Ukrainian forces, who are suffering, too. Ukrainian officials put the number of their soldiers killed in action at as many as 200 a day. The Ukrainians have also almost entirely run out of the Soviet-era ammunition on which their own weapon systems rely, and they are still in the process of transitioning to Western systems. Western allies need to step up their efforts to support the Ukrainians with supplies and new equipment. Only when properly armed can they hope to drive the Russians out of Ukraine once and for all. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you can be alerted to our next video. We'll see you again soon on Warzone.